People don't understand what good is because they don't understand what bad is. Okay? Sin, evil, bad. People say, I'm not a sinner, I'm not evil, I'm not bad. I don't torture mice like a cat does. But did you fail to fulfill some part of your potential? See, people think of evil in the commissionary sense, and I'm not talking about some missionary joke you can plug in there. I mean, there's sins of commission and sins of omission. Sin was originally a god that the Israelites served in the desert after they got out of Egypt. It became a term describing what we know today as badness, brokenness, or evil. In the New Testament of the Bible, it's translated as hamartia. This is a Greek term which literally means to miss the mark. To miss a mark, you have to be aiming at it. You're not trying to miss the mark when you experience hamartia. Not necessarily. I mean, you might just aim the arrow at the ground and shoot your foot. You could. You could. Um, a lot of times, though, you're trying to do the right thing and you miss even though you're trying. It's not that you are Hannibal Lecter wanting to eat people. It's that you're Forrest Gump and you just can't, your brain's unable to think. Is that his fault? No. That's a sin of omission. His potential destiny has been omitted because of what's broken in mankind. Okay? So the concept of sin, badness, brokenness, evil, it can define something or someone who's just wicked, wants to do evil things, wants to hurt people. But it can also just be the broken imperfection of mankind, the lost potential and destiny that we all have. So people don't understand goodness because they think of evil only in the sense of people doing bad things for the sake of doing bad things. But C.S. Lewis talks about this. Nobody is bad for bad's sake, okay? The cat who tortures the mouse isn't torturing the mouse because he wants to starve himself. The cat, it's not that I'm not going to eat this even though I'm hungry or anything like that. The cat gets an enjoyment out of playing with the dying animal that he's crippled. You see, it's entertaining. Entertainment in and of itself is not evil, but what entertains you? Are you entertained by things that are wholesome? Does your entertainment come at the expense of others? See, that's what changes it a little bit, okay? So, in this analogy, the cat is exploiting the mouse for for its own purposes, and we see that as evil. But what about the human being who starts their car in the winter and there's a cat in the engine and the cat explodes? I mean, that happens in Wyoming. Stray cats will crawl up inside the engine of a car because it gets like negative 20 and the cat wants to warm up. The thing about the engine of a car is it's the engine of a car and the cat goes where the warmth is because the cat's not an engineer. The cat's like, oh, it's warm up here. And it happens. If sometimes you'll see the truck start and the cat runs out of, and sometimes you hear a sound and you're like, man, am I got a belt? What's that squealing noise? Is the person who started his car without knowing the cat's in there as evil as the cat who tortures the mouse? One's a sin of omission, one's a sin of commission. Both are brokenness, both are sin, both are technically evil. See, it says in Scripture, the kindest act of the wicked is cruel. You might also invert that. The cruelest act of the righteous is kind. And there is such a thing as a severe mercy. C.S. Lewis wrote a book called that. That would be a severe mercy, might be um, someone who has a perverse sexual addiction getting castrated rather than executed. I mean, we see a lot of that today. And now there are people who are castrating themselves because they think they can change gender, and the term gender or hormone therapy sounds less painful than castration. But it's both of them are eunuchs. You know, that's lying to kids, taking advantage of kids. That's evil. Not stopping that, not trying to stop that. It's evil. But evil is just broken goodness, okay? The people who do this to their kids, ostensibly, they're afraid the kid will kill themselves or something. They've been lied to and they believe in the lie. They've put their trust in a lie. Now, I dated a girl very briefly who got roped into a pyramid scheme. And I knew it was a pyramid scheme because I'd encountered these things and I'd had someone pitch me the multi-level marketing scheme before. So I let her do her pitch, and then I told her what it was, and I offered to buy her out, and it pissed her off. And that's what you find out, because Mark Twain said it best: it's easier to trick people than to convince them they've been fooled. And when you tell somebody they're in a pyramid scheme, they're going to get mad at you and they're not going to believe you. And the reason, there's a few reasons, but a big one is it's their personal ego and pride on the line. I'm not that stupid. I know better. Come on. No, we can all be tricked. I've been tricked. You've been tricked. You can say you haven't been tricked, but you're just tricking yourself. That's the biggest con of all. So when you tell people that they are evil and we're all evil because of the human condition of brokenness, it's going to be hard for them to believe you or understand you, because they think, I haven't, tortured a mouse, but you might have started your engine and blown up a cat. You don't know what you haven't done or what you have done, because you don't know the ultimate domino effect implications of the actions in your life. Nobody does. We don't know these things because we don't see the future. We're in the present. We can't see what's coming. We can't see where it's going. We can only see where we're at, and we can make some conclusions based on the past that we've seen. Those are, you're not going to, you don't have all the data. Nobody ever has had all the variables. C.S. Lewis puts it like this: you have an idea in your head of New York. I have an idea in my head of New York. We're talking the city, not the state. Now, regardless of what your perception is and my perception is, the city of New York exists outside of either of our understanding of it. See, maybe you only went to Brooklyn, maybe I only went to Manhattan, but they're both New York. You see what I'm saying? We colored our perception based on our experience, but our experience, by dint of our singular consciousness, is always going to be incomplete. So, we can't know what we have and haven't done until we're outside of time and space, until we've shucked this mortal coil, until we're in the eternal realm. However, there is goodness and there is evil. There is fulfillment of potential. Things that are not broken are good. Things that work as they are intended to work. Things that stimulate a positive feedback loop of goodness. Pay it forward. Loving people. Putting other people in front of yourself. We know goodness even though evil is something that permeates us from the genetic level. Adam's sin, if you will, but we can go into that another time. There is goodness, there is badness. We know that things like bestiality are wrong, no matter how someone might argue around that. Same with rape, same with murder. We know there are things that are wrong, even if we don't know all the things that are wrong. And we know there are things that are good. Self-sacrifice, hard work, honesty, responsibility, reliability, truth. These things are good. We know these things exist. And their existence is beyond our capability of perceiving them. Their existence is beyond our capability of perceiving them. That is to say, we do good and bad things we don't know about. So it's like this. The creation that we live in is a computer software program, a social media, a video game. Evil, brokenness, is a computer virus that has infected everything. Christ is an error-correcting code that whether or not the file works, the virus which is there is something his death and resurrection can eradicate. It's like if a video game programmer made an avatar of himself, went into his own video game on God mode and beat it. And now that he's beaten it, now this is where the analogy gets different, because you can't even do this in our video games. He's made it possible for the AIs in the video game to become sentient, to print in a three-dimensional sense into the real world. That's sort of the implication of Scripture. And the reason you haven't heard it put that way classically in old theological textbooks is computation wasn't known in the way it is today. You're looking at this on a phone or a computer screen, which was coded and designed and put together kind of like our universe is. So it's not that we're in a simulation. Everything has a reason and a purpose, and there's an end game to all that's going on right now. So everything has consequences right now. But the universe we inhabit is a subset of a greater reality.